Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something right now. What you've been waiting for, the breakthrough you've been praying for, the miracle you've been dreaming about, it's closer than you think. You've been grinding, you've been hustling, you've been putting in the work, and sometimes it feels like nothing's moving, like the world is moving faster than you, like doors keep closing when you know you're ready to step in. But I'm here to tell you that every delay, every not yet, every struggle, every setback, it's all part of the plan. God has been working behind the scenes while you were busy doubting, while you were busy worrying, while you were busy comparing yourself to everybody else. And right now, right in this moment, I want you to feel it deep down. God is about to answer you, and your miracle is about to show up in ways you didn't even imagine. You're about to see favor, breakthroughs, and blessings in every area of your life. And it's going to make every struggle, every tear, and every lonely night worth it. So get ready, because your time is now, your moment is here, and your life is about to change forever. All right, let's dive deep into you got to understand something right now. Life ain't moving too slow. It ain't moving too fast. It's moving on God's schedule, and that schedule is perfect. See, a lot of people get frustrated because they look at where they are and compare it to where they think they should be. They scroll through social media, see other people's highlight reels, and think, why not me? Why am I still waiting? Why haven't I seen the breakthrough yet? But here's the secret that most people miss. They forget that God's timing is not just perfect, it's strategic, it's intentional, and it's building you in ways you don't even realize. Look at Jay-Z's life, look at his story. He didn't start at the top, and he didn't get famous overnight. Every struggle, every delay, every rejection, every no he faced was part of a bigger plan. A divine timing that was preparing him to handle more than just fame and money, but influence, respect, and a legacy. Believing in your timing means learning to trust the pauses, the waiting periods, and even the moments that feel like setbacks. It's in those pauses that your character is being strengthened. You see, it's easy to be patient when things are going your way, when the money's flowing, when the people are supporting you, when the opportunities are everywhere. But true faith shows up when doors stay closed, when every move you make seems to lead nowhere, when the world is telling you to give up, and yet you keep moving because you know that God's plan cannot fail. Jay-Z understood this. Even when he was hustling on the corners of Brooklyn, selling CDs out of the trunk of a car, making deals that didn't always pan out, and facing people who doubt him at every step, he understood that those moments were not wasted. They were the foundation for the empire he was about to build. Believing in your timing also means releasing the need to control everything. So many people try to force their own schedules, push their own timelines, and manipulate situations to fit their idea of when things should happen. But God is never behind schedule. When you try to control the timing, you often mess up the plan. There's a level of patience, discipline, and trust that you have to embrace. You have to learn to walk through life with confidence in the unseen, knowing that what's meant for you will never miss you, and what misses you was never meant to be. Jay-Z talks about grinding, about hustling, about being patient in the studio, about perfecting every verse before it hits the streets. And that same principle applies to your life. Every delay, every not yet, every moment where you're waiting on the answer is actually God positioning you for something greater than you imagine. And here's the thing. Believing in your timing doesn't mean you sit still. You got to move. You got to prepare. You got to grind. You got to put in the work as if the breakthrough depends on you, but simultaneously trust that the results are already on the way. Jay-Z's timing wasn't passive. It was active. He was constantly creating, constantly hustling, constantly perfecting his craft, all while trusting that the right moment would come. That's what separates people who never see their miracles from people who get everything they prayed for. It's that combination of faith and action, patience and persistence, preparation and trust in the divine schedule. When you start believing in your timing, you stop comparing yourself to others. You stop measuring your life against someone else's journey. You stop panicking when doors close, and you start looking for the hidden blessings in the waiting period. You begin to understand that every trial, every challenge, every delay is a building block for your miracle. Your timing is your testimony in the making, and God is about to answer you in a way so big, so powerful, and so unexpected that it will make every wait, every struggle, every lonely moment worth it. You just got to believe, grind, trust, and stay ready for the moment when your breakthrough finally hits, because it is coming and it's going to be better than you ever imagined. Faith over fear is one of the hardest battles you'll ever face, because fear has a way of creeping in quietly, whispering doubts into your ear, making you second guess your dreams, your abilities, and even God's plan for your life. But Jay-Z understood this early on. Fear tried to tell him he couldn't make it out of Marcy projects. Fear tried to convince him that the world was bigger than his dreams. Fear tried to make him settle for less than he deserved, but he chose faith instead. He chose to believe in the vision he saw for himself, even when nobody else did. That's the energy you need in your life right now, because God is about to answer you, but fear is the biggest thing trying to stop you from stepping into your miracle. Faith is like a muscle. It grows stronger the more you use it. Every time fear whispers you can't, you have to respond with faith, saying, I can and I will, because God is with me. Jay-Z didn't wait for everyone to believe in him before he made moves. He didn't wait for a record deal, for approval, for validation. He created, he hustled, he took risks. And every step was fueled by the belief that his life had a purpose bigger than his circumstances. Faith over fear is exactly that. It's the ability to walk boldly into the unknown, because you know that God's hand is guiding you. Even when the path is unclear, fear will always try to stop you taking that first step, from launching your idea, from making the call, from speaking your truth. But faith pushes you forward even when the odds seem impossible. When fear shows up, It's usually disguised as realistic thinking or being careful, but that's just fear in a suit trying to hold you back. Jay-Z faced fear every single day, from the streets of Brooklyn to the boardrooms of corporate America, but he learned how to flip fear into motivation. Fear reminded him what he didn't want, and faith reminded him what he deserved. You got to do the same. When you feel fear creeping in, don't fight it with worry, fight it with faith. Speak life over your situation. Remind yourself of who God says you are and refuse to let fear dictate your future. The miracle you've been waiting for is on the other side of that fear, and the only way to reach it is to keep moving with unwavering belief. Faith over fear also means trusting God when you don't understand the plan. Sometimes the fear comes from not knowing what's next, from not seeing the whole picture. Jay-Z didn't have a map for his life. He didn't know every move he was supposed to make, but he trusted the process, trusted his instincts, and trusted that God was leading him. Fear wants you to focus on the problem, on the obstacles, on what could go wrong, but faith shifts your focus to the solution, to the possibility, and to the power of God working your life. Every time you choose faith over fear, you're aligning yourself with the energy of your blessing. And every time you cave to fear, you're stepping away from your destiny. The power of faith over fear is also about action. You can't just say, I believe, and sit on the sidelines. Jay-Z hustled, he created, he risked, he built, and he took action in faith, knowing that God was behind every move. Faith without action is just hope, but faith with action is unstoppable. When you start to move in faith, even when fear is knocking on your door, doors that were locked for you start opening, opportunities start showing up, and miracles begin to manifest. Finally, faith over fear is a mindset that rewires your life. It teaches you to see setbacks as setups, challenges as lessons, and delays as divine timing. Fear wants you to focus on what you don't have, what you might lose, and what could go wrong, but faith forces you to focus on what God has promised, what you can gain, and the victory that's already yours. Just like Jay-Z, you have to rise above the doubt, rise above the voices, and rise above the fear. Because the moment you fully embrace faith over fear, that's when your miracle starts moving toward you faster than you ever imagined. Grind and trust the process. That's the blueprint. That's the mindset. That's the key to unlocking every blessing and every miracle God has waiting for you. See, most people want the glory without the grind. They want the reward without the work. They want the miracle without the process, but life doesn't work that way. Jay-Z understood this early on. He didn't just wake up one day with an empire. Every verse he wrote, every studio session, every business move, every risk he took was a brick in the foundation of his legacy. He trusted the process even when it seemed slow, even when it seemed unfair, even when nobody was watching. And that same principle applies to you. God's answers are on the way, but they're coming through the work you do right now, the grind you commit to, and the patience you show while waiting for the breakthrough. Trusting the process means embracing every step, even the hard ones, even the boring ones, even the ones that feel repetitive. Jay-Z spent years grinding in the studio, perfecting tracks that wouldn't even be heard for months or years. He understood that mastery comes from repetition, from showing up when nobody else shows up, and from believing that the work you put in now compounds into something bigger than you can imagine. That's how God works too. Your grind today is preparing you for your miracle tomorrow, even if you can't see the full picture. Every setback, every late night, every early morning, every sacrifice is part of a divine process that's aligning you with what's coming. People get frustrated because they want results now. They see someone else winning, making money, getting opportunities, and they feel like they're behind, like their efforts are wasted. But that's fear talking. Jay-Z didn't focus on what others were doing. He focused on his craft, his vision, his process, and his grind. Trusting the process means ignoring the noise and focusing on what God has called you to do. It means putting in the work consistently, knowing that the universe and God are orchestrating everything behind the scenes. Your miracle isn't delayed. It's being prepared for maximum impact, and the process is what makes you ready to receive it. Grinding isn't just about physical work. It's about mental work, spiritual work, and emotional work. Jay-Z didn't just hustle on the streets. He studied, he learned, he built networks, he expanded his mind, he sharpened his instincts, and he became a strategist. That's how he moved from the studio to the boardroom. From selling CDs on the corners to owning businesses worth billions. Trusting the process means understanding that growth comes in layers. Every lesson, every challenge, every struggle is shaping you into someone capable of handling not just a miracle, but the responsibility and the vision that comes with it. Another part of grinding and trusting the process is patience. Jay-Z didn't rush his career. He didn't chase trends or cut corners for instant success. He built longevity. He understood that lasting greatness comes from respecting the process, respecting the craft, and staying faithful even when the results are invisible. Your miracle's the same way. God might not answer your prayer today, tomorrow, or even next month in the way you expect, but every effort you put in now is planting seeds for a future harvest that will exceed anything you imagine. Trusting the process is faith in motion. It's showing up, giving your best, and believing that God's timing is perfect. Finally, grinding and trusting the process requires discipline and consistency. Jay-Z's grind wasn't random, it was intentional, it was disciplined, and it was consistent. He knew that small steps every day add up to major results over time. That same principle applies to your life. The miracle you've been waiting for is coming, but it comes to the one who shows up, the one who works while others sleep, the the one who keeps pushing while others quit, the one who trusts the process even when it feels invisible. When you grind and trust the process, you align yourself with God's timing, you prepare yourself for your blessing, and you make sure that when the miracle hits, you're ready to claim it, embrace it, and multiply it beyond your imagination. Setbacks are not the end of your story. They're the chapters that build your strength, your wisdom, and your character. Jay-Z knew this early on because he faced rejection, betrayal, and lost more times than most people can even imagine. From being turned down by record labels to hustling in the streets of Brooklyn with no guarantee of success, to watching people doubt him, every setback was a test. But here's the thing about Jay-Z, and here's the lesson for you. Setbacks are not meant to stop you. They're meant to prepare you. They're meant to teach you something that no classroom, no book, and no easy one ever could. God is about to answer your prayer, but he's using every struggle, every closed door, every failure to shape you into someone capable of handling that blessing when it comes. Most people look at setbacks and see failure, but Jay-Z looks at them as lessons, as stepping stones, as evidence that something bigger is coming. Every time he got knocked down, he analyzed it, learned from it, and used it as fuel. That's what you have to do too. Life is going to push you, the world is going to test you, and fear is going to whisper that you're not enough. But when you see setbacks as lessons instead of losses, you change the game. You begin to understand that what feels like a closed door is actually a reroute, a redirection towards something greater than what you were chasing. Every setback carries a lesson, a hidden blessing, and a divine purpose. And when you start recognizing that, you stop being discouraged and start being unstoppable. Overcoming setbacks means shifting your perspective. Most people stay stuck in the pain, the disappointment, and the frustration. Jay-Z never let a negative moment define him. He would take the loss, take the criticism, and flip it into motivation, into a verse, into a business move, into action that propelled him further than before. That's the mindset you need. Stop looking at the setback as the end of your journey and start looking at it as the preparation for your mirror. Every rejection, every failure, every no is a building block. God is using it to prepare you, to refine you, and to make sure that when the blessing comes, you're not only ready to receive it, but you're ready to elevate it, multiply it, and turn it into something legendary. Another key part of overcoming setbacks is resilience. Jay-Z had the resilience to keep going even when nobody believed in him, even when the odds were stacked against him. Resilience is the muscle you build when life hits you hard and you refuse to stay down. Every setback is an opportunity to strengthen that muscle. When you fail, fail forward. When you stumble, get up stronger. When doors close, keep moving, because God's plan is bigger than any temporary disappointment. Your setbacks are not punishments. They're setups for your breakthrough, and your resilience determines how quickly and powerfully you reach it. Setbacks also teach patience and humility. Jay-Z didn't become a mogul overnight, and he had to learn lessons about timing, trust, and strategy through his struggles. Every loss taught him how to play the game smarter. Every betrayal taught him how to choose allies carefully. And every challenge taught him how to stay focused on the vision rather than the distractions. That's exactly what your setbacks are doing for you. They are refining your character, teaching you discipline, and reminding you that the miracle you're waiting for is not just about the outcome, it's about who you become while waiting. Finally, overcoming setbacks is about perspective and faith. Jay-Z's faith in his vision, his craft, and his purpose allowed him to see setbacks as temporary and strategic. He understood that every setback carried a lesson that would prepare him for a bigger stage, a bigger audience, and a bigger blessing. You have to adopt that same mindset. Stop seeing failure as a full stop. See it as a comma, a pause, a learning moment that God is using to get you ready. Every setback is a seed of growth, and every lesson learned brings you one step closer to the miracle you've been praying for. The world may try to tell you no, circumstances may try to hold you back, but when you overcome setbacks and embrace them as lessons, you align yourself with God's plan and your breakthrough becomes inevitable. Absolutely! Here's a detailed 700-word Jay-Z style expansion of speaking life and declaring your victory is more than just words. It's a mindset, it's a power, and it's a strategy that separates those who wait for miracles from those who walk boldly into them. Jay-Z understood this instinctively. He knew that the way you talk about yourself, your dreams, and your future sets the blueprint for what comes to you. He didn't whisper about his success. He declared it. He rapped it. He embodied it in every verse, in every interview, in every deal he made. Speaking life is not about arrogance. It's about aligning your words with God's promises and making a statement that you are ready, you are capable, and you will not settle for less than what's destined for you. Your words have weight, and when you declare victory over your situation, even before you see it manifest, you are activating the spiritual and practical forces that bring it to reality. Most people underestimate the power of their words. They complain, they doubt, they speak fear into their own lives, and then they wonder why nothing changes. Jay-Z didn't waste energy on negative talk. Even when he faced rejection, criticism, and impossible odds, he spoke about what he was going to build, what he was going to achieve, and who he was becoming. That's what faith in action looks like. Speaking life is an act of faith. It's you telling the universe and telling yourself that no matter how things look, the miracle you've been waiting for is already on its way. When you start declaring your victory, you start living as if it's already yours, and that confidence attracts opportunities, people, and resources that align with your declaration. Declaring victory also trains your mind to focus on outcomes instead of obstacles. Jay-Z didn't let setbacks, failures, or doubters dictate his future. He kept his eyes on the prize, kept his words positive, and spoke boldly about the empire he was building. That same principle applies to you. Every time you speak life over your circumstances, you're reminding yourself and the universe that your destiny is bigger than the temporary situation in front of you. When you declare victory, you're programming your mind to see solutions, opportunities, and possibilities instead of problems, limitations, and fear. Your words are creating a path, and your faith is walking on it even before you see it physically. Speaking life is also about consistency and repetition. Jay-Z didn't just declare his success once, he repeated it over and over. In his music, in his business moves, in his actions, in his mindset, that repetition strengthens belief, solidifies confidence, and eventually turns what you speak into reality. The miracle you've been waiting for responds to the life you speak, the victory you declare, and the belief you maintain. Every positive word you speak is like planting a seed in fertile soil, and God waters it in His timing until it grows in the harvest you've been dreaming of. Another crucial element is declaring victory not only for yourself, but also for those around you. Jay-Z inspired millions by speaking life through his music, his brand, and his story. When you declare your victory, you create an environment of faith and possibility that lifts others, builds communities, and strengthens networks. God multiplies blessings when they're shared and celebrated, and your spoken life becomes a magnet for even greater miracles. The energy you put out with your words returns to you, often in ways you can't predict, so choose words that empower, uplift, and declare divine outcomes. Finally, speaking life and declaring victory requires courage. It takes boldness to talk about your dreams when the world doubts you, to proclaim your miracle when the situation looks impossible, and to speak faith when fear is knocking at your door. Jay-Z faced critics, skeptics, and people who wanted to see him fail, but he never stopped declaring what he was capable of achieving. That same courage is what you need today. Declare your victory with confidence, speak life over your dreams with authority, and trust that God is already moving behind the scenes. When you combine words, faith, and action, you are not just hoping for a miracle, you are calling it into existence, walking toward it, and positioning